be able to play against the Arizona Cardinals. He's, of course, dealing with that hamstring injury. He's been back at practice. He's been limited. But today is a really important day for him as he's going to test that out there during practice and make that final decision whether or not he'll be able to go. Meantime, for Arizona, DeAndre Hopkins, Brittany, we've seen him pop on and off the injury report all season long. And every time I push back to Arizona to find out what's really going on here, the sense I always get is we just like to give the guy a rest. And that seems to be a theme this season. Coach is really trying to comply with these players. If they need a day off, they're taking a day off. So I'm told no major concern with DeAndre Hopkins. And it's sort of the same situation with Tennessee. They know that they're going to need their wide receiver, A.J. Brown, against the Jacksonville Jags down in Florida. And this past season, it's Thursdays that A.J. Brown seems to take his day to just sort of hang out to the side and not play and get involved just to get that rest, because we know he is using his legs so much during the game. So this seems to be a situation that works out really well for this team, giving A.J. Brown the day off. So no concern for the Tennessee Titans and their wide receiver.
All right, important obviously for them and for a lot of people's fantasy playoffs. All right, sit tight, Diana, because I want to get to the next thing here. This is interesting. Let's talk about the Packers. They're atop the division. They're 9-3. And, of course, one of their biggest reasons for success is the connection between Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. On Wednesday, Rodgers was asked about that relationship, and listen to this.
I have so much love and respect for him as a person, the way he carries himself, his demeanor, his competitiveness, his focus, the plays that he makes on the field, the way that he communicates with me, the respect that he shows me, the respect that he earns from myself and our team every single day. He is one of a kind. I'm better because of him as a person and as a quarterback.
Wow. So a lot of us on the staff were really struck by that. And Mark Sanchez, I want to start with you as a quarterback. When you hear the quarterback talking about a receiver like that, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is the way Bart Scott used to talk about me when we were teammates, so this totally makes sense. But most importantly, when you get a quarterback and a receiver on the same wavelength this way, this transcends football. It sounds like these guys are buddies. It sounds like he's shoveling snow for Aaron Rodgers and wiping off his car or something like that. This is a serious bromance, but I think it's transcended football, and they share the same views. Maybe it's politically, maybe it's religiously, maybe it's just, the way they go about their day. But I think what he respects the most about him is his hard work and that work ethic. When you have a guy that's willing to work like that, it makes your job a lot easier.
RC, how about that connection?
And I thought it was amazing. Listen, we have seen Aaron Rodgers, say some things that may border on arrogance, but this was real. This seemed sincere. And it seemed like he was not only appreciative of what Davante Adams was as a man and as a player, but it seems like he was grateful to be a part of his journey. Like he was grateful to have him on his team. But you see this on the field. There is no one-on-one matchup that Aaron Rodgers doesn't believe that Davante Adams is going to win. The 2 interceptions he throws against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were purely because he knew Davante Adams had one-on-one, and that was his guy, and that his guy was better than anyone else. This bodes well for these two people, but more importantly, for the Green Bay Packers and their pass game.
Trying to decide if Bart Scott's going to say something funny or serious. Go ahead, Bart.
No. This is old age, man. This is old age. This is reflection. This is seeing at the end is coming. I know Jordy Nelson. I know Donald Driver's like, what the hell are you talking about? You never waxed poetic about me like that. I won you a damn Super Bowl when you were winking at Ryan Clark. You were throwing the ball to me. And you want to wax poetic about this dude? Like, are you kidding me? So this is old age, and this is him understanding that the end is near, and him understanding that, hey, his days are numbered. And how are you as the Packers knowing that you took the first-round draft pick on a quarterback, and this guy's playing this well, and you may not even be able to see that first-round quarterback?
Diana, you look skeptical.
Because every Friday, it's the same thing with you three. You're so sappy and in your feelings. Davante Adams makes Aaron Rodgers look fantastic. It's like Hembo on the show. Hembo makes me look so good. He gives me all the facts, the stats. He goes over my notes for me. Guess who I love? Hembo. He makes me a better person because he makes me successful. So I completely understand why Aaron Rodgers is going out there. I love Davante. He's this, he's that. I love anyone that makes me look good.
I think we have come to the conclusion
I used to get that treatment last
Hembo equals Davante Adams. I think that their value is about equal. That is an excellent point, Diana, and I thoroughly agree. Let me break on that. There's nowhere better to go from there than that. Coming up next, we'll talk about, so Mark Sanchez, as you take a look at what happened to them last night and the season in totality, what's the number one thought in your mind?
Well, I mean, the most important thing, they fooled you a little bit last week running this team like a service academy team. They look like, you know, the Navy cadets out there. They try and limit your possessions. They pummel you with defense, and, you know, they play incredible special teams. But if you have one error, like a bad screen throw on a great hold by Aaron Donald, and then you get stopped on 4th down and you don't get field goal points, boom, next thing you know, you're down 17-0. So there's just no margin for error when you watch this team. And if you do stumble on defense a little bit, you give up a couple rushing yards here or there, you get gashed in the rushing game, then you're totally screwed. Your plan's out the window. But Cam's working with the same cast of characters, or maybe slightly worse than Tom Brady was. And this was our issue with the Patriots last year. So in some ways, it's a tough evaluation for Cam.
Yeah, that's fair. And so, RC, let me come to you. As we evaluate Cam, we evaluate the Patriots, and we figure out what the future is. For those just joining us, we spent a lot of our first hour talking about the people who were there. Where does it need to go next, RC? What do they need to do at quarterback next year?
They got to make changes. They have to go find a guy. They got to find the Patriots guy. And I think you got to Cam Newton in a way that you necessarily weren't expecting. He was still there. You understood that Jarrett Stidham or Brian Hoyer wasn't the guy, and he was the next best thing that you could get. And you hope that you could bring some of the old Cam out of him because you knew you didn't have weapons. You knew you'd have to be a run-heavy team, and you hope adding the quarterback run to that would help. But this has been a failure. And I didn't look at the last week against the Chargers and think that the Patriots were back. I didn't buy that. They weren't going to catfish me into driving across the country because I thought that you were 6'2" and beautiful. No, that's not what was about to happen. When you look at this team, they have too many holes to fill. Defensively, you have opt-outs. Outside, you haven't drafted well, and you haven't stocked this team with skill players. Bill Belichick has to start over. Is Bill Belichick fit for a rebuild? Does he understand how to get this team to be something that they never had to be without Tom Brady? And that's the question. Nico said he believes that Bill still wants to coach, that Bill still has the fire. Well, does he have what it takes to take a new rendition or a new version of the New England Patriots to the Super Bowl? Because we all know that's the standard that is set in New England.
So, Bart Scott, let me come to you on that. If Bill's actions suggest that he doesn't believe Jarrett Stidham is the future of quarterback at New England, and I think that does seem relatively clear, what do you expect him to do? Do you expect him to try and find a veteran? There should be a lot of them, or does he start over with somebody new and young?
Well, he's going to have to try and find a veteran. And we think about maybe Matthew Stafford. We talked about a little bit, maybe taking a trade for Jimmy G, bringing him back home, because I don't think San Francisco is really sold on him. But you got to understand that the sexy part about being able to attract free agents, guys that were in the middle of their career, guys who are established like A.J. Green or Keenan Allen, you know, the reason you were always able to attract them because you had Tom Brady as the quarterback. So now it's going to be a hard recruiting sale, because from every former teammate that I've ever played with that went to New England, they said it is miserable. And they were winning. So I'm going to imagine what it's like to be in that building now that they're losing. So Bill Belichick has to figure out if he's going to go young. He may lose Josh McDaniels, because Josh McDaniels has an opportunity to go coach Deshaun Watson. He has an opportunity to go coach Herbert potentially. Maybe Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence. Is that going to keep you in knowing that you may not know who you're going to coach and you may not have any weapons around him to build, and know that may be nepotism going on in New England? Because if Josh McDaniels says, hey, you told me you're going to give me your world, Bill Belichick, Bill Belichick says, hey, here's your world, I go up to the upper office, you're going to be stuck with two of his kids that you may or may not even like. So if you leave, if Josh McDaniels leaves, he has an opportunity to build a staff and build a team the way that he wants to, and don't have to have any arranged marriages. So I believe if I'm Josh McDaniels, I get off the Titanic while it's sinking, because I don't want to stay around for 3-4 years before this thing get turned around, because every other quarterback in the division is better than the one we have.
Boy, there's a lot to unpack there, but very interesting. We'll see. McDaniels, maybe something happens down in Tampa with his old quarterback. We'll keep a close eye on him.